Hi, my name is Ariana Hall, and this presentation will be on the fast fashion industry. Issues most relevant to this industry include agile response capabilities, lead times, demand forecasting, inventory costs, and sustainability. Agile response is an issue because the industry's model is built on meeting current and rapidly changing trends. This means that to remain competitive, enterprises need to be able to identify trends, secure raw materials, manufacture the product, and deliver that product to target markets before the trend is over. Additionally, due to issues with demand forecasting, having an agile supply chain allows you to adjust to meet demands. Demand forecasting is very difficult because the fast fashion industry is a typical news vendor problem. Demand is volatile, and historical data can be difficult to apply given the innovative nature of the product. Lead times pose another interesting problem for this industry. Outsourcing is the most common method of manufacturing fast fashion products. As a result, manufacturing is generally a long distance from target markets. This longer lead time poses challenges in meeting demand within the trend period, and as a result, companies that have longer lead times tend to overproduce inventory, knowing that replenishment within the trend period is not always possible. Excess inventory can be a major issue in this industry, with large financial losses for those who manage inventory poorly. H&M, for example, wasted $4.3 billion in unsold clothing. Finally, sustainability is a large issue for this industry. The wastefulness of this industry creates large environmental costs, and as consumers have begun to reject inequitable fashion brands, fast fashion enterprises are recognizing that their wastefulness can be detrimental to their business. The majority of enterprises in this industry utilize an agile supply chain. However, there are a few companies such as Unico that remain competitive but use a lean supply chain. The reason most use an agile supply chain is because it is useful in producing innovative products with volatile demand, short life cycles, and high product variety. Another commonplace operational tool used are statistical models and forecasting software. The most commonly employed statistical analysis tools used are ARIMA and SARIMA. Fast fashion enterprises have begun to turn towards using AI technology. Some enterprises utilize a hybrid method, using both statistical models and AI. The news vendor model is used because this is a news vendor problem. Demand is difficult to forecast, and this tool is used to find the optimal order quantity. Outsourcing is the most commonly used form of manufacturing products in the fast fashion industry. However, recently companies such as Zara have turned towards in-house production. For example, Zara now produces 50% in Spain and another 26% in the rest of Europe using in-house manufacturing. The rest is outsourced to African and Asian countries. Several operational advantages in this industry. Having an agile and responsive supply chain puts you above other enterprises. For example, by using an agile supply chain, Zara is capable of only producing 15 to 20% of the season's line 6 months in advance, and then producing 30 to 35% of the line at the start of the season and the remaining 50% during the season. This not only allows them to address trends quickly, but to avoid excess inventory. Studies comparing the use of AI and traditional forecasting models in situations with stochastic demand have found that AI provides a better forecasting accuracy. Companies such as Zara and Unico that use AI methods or hybrid methods create operational advantages. Lower lead times, such as those of Zara's, means that you can avoid overproducing products. Their lower lead times and agile supply chain allows them to produce in smaller batch sizes and adjust for additional unforeseen demand as needed. Their lower lead time also allows them to avoid excess inventory because they can address a trend while the trend is still in demand. Excess inventory is a common trend in fast fashion. Zara does a good job avoiding excess inventory by addressing the variables that result in this issue at the various points of the supply chain. Integrating processes allows for faster responses to trend. Unico and Zara hold competitive positions in this industry by integrating their processes. Zara uses vertical integration, combining design, product, distribution, and retailing to allow for lower lead times. Unico, inspired by Zara, built new facilities that integrate design, production, and marketing. In-house production is another form of operational advantage. Companies such as Zara maintain competitiveness through the advantages that stem from their heavy use of in-house production combined with strategic outsourcing. As the issue of excess inventory, enterprises should use the news vendor model to find the optimal order quantity. This helps to balance underage and overage costs, finding the quantity that is most beneficial towards the business. Then companies should analyze their lead times by engaging with their process maps and the delays along their supply chain. Lead times can be found by taking the sum of supply delay and reordering delay. Lead time directly influences how much stock a company must hold at a time. Then companies should utilize the inventory turnover ratio. They can find this by dividing the cost of goods sold by the average. This ratio can give insight into which types of products, not just divided by style, but by size, color, and material, do well, and which types fare poorly. An unbalanced inventory turnover ratio can mean ordering excess inventory when it is not matched by demand, or lacking the necessary inventory to fill an order when needed. This presentation recommends that enterprises match their supply chain to their product type. In this situation, agile supply chains are preferable. However, it should be noted that the lean supply chain works well for Unico despite being a fast fashion enterprise. Use the news vendor model and implement AI methods to forecast demand and the correlating inventory needs. Analyze lead times. If there is a longer lead time, consider moving some production closer to target markets. The current industry trend is to attempt to have the lowest lead time. Not only will this help an enterprise to remain competitive, but a lower lead time means that excess inventory production can be avoided, and subsequently excess inventory costs can be diminished. Analyze the inventory turnover ratio. This ratio can be useful in future demand forecasting. Increased accuracy in forecasting is useful in avoiding excess inventory. Finally, this presentation recommends that regardless of whether an agile or lean supply chain is used, the enterprise should integrate processes to be more responsive to trends and demands.